The pond in the park suddenly began to bubble eerily, and the nearby teddy dog barked incessantly. Cracks started to appear on the ground, and the next second, the road collapsed instantly. People fled in all directions, and the streets were thrown into chaos. Along with the road collapse, the nearby skyscraper also began to collapse. George saved a little girl while running away, but he was knocked to the ground by a passerby. His mother turned back and saw George lying on the ground, preparing to go back to save him, but before she could take a few steps, George fell into the pit. At this moment, the rate of collapse suddenly accelerated. Mom Lisa tried to turn around and run away, but it was too late. Her daughter Ellie suddenly grabbed her mother's hand. Lisa knew her daughter couldn't pull her up, so she broke free from her daughter's hand and fell. Ellie had no time to be sad. With only one leg, she ran desperately, racing against death. At this moment, the collapse suddenly stopped, and a deep pit appeared in the center of the city. 3 hours later, the rescue team arrived at the scene. Father Sam also rushed over. Ellie told him that her mother and brother had fallen into the pit. Sam was a pilot who had brain damage after his plane crashed in the desert during a mission. He often had hallucinations. At this moment, a flock of blackbirds suddenly flew out of the pit, exactly the same as his hallucinations. Sam couldn't believe his eyes. The rescue team caught one of the birds. After research, it was found that this kind of bird had been extinct for 10,000 years. Why did it appear from the pit? Lisa fell into the bottomless pit. When she woke up again, she found herself in a deserted meadow. She looked at the crack in the sky, took out her phone to call her son, but there was no signal. So she began to search for her son by climbing mountains and crossing rivers. After 3 days of searching, she met an old man. While they were talking, they saw a plume of smoke in the distance. Lisa immediately ran towards the smoke. When she got there, she found many survivors. Fortunately, George was also there, and the mother and son were reunited. Everyone gathered together, puzzled by what had happened. They guessed that they might have been brought here by the crack in the sky, but now, they needed to find water and food first. So everyone began to collect supplies. At that moment, a hungry wolf walked out of the forest. The mother and son turned and hurried to escape, with the hungry wolf close behind. Within moments, there were many wolves. The woman banged on the car glass for help, but the man was so scared that he forgot how to open the car door. At the critical moment, the woman escaped by hiding under the car. The wolves then moved on. In order to save his family, the man grabbed a wooden stick and fought with the wolf. However, the man was pounced on and dragged into the woods. George, who was running away, was also pounced upon by the hungry wolf. Lena picks up a rock and knocks the wolf away. The crazed hungry wolf gets up and fights back. At the critical moment, Blake shoots and kills the wolf. George, who had been bitten, lay on the ground in pain. To prevent the wolf from attacking again, they carried George to a bus. On the other hand, the rescue continues. The news says it's a natural disaster, while Sam suddenly has a picture of Lena in his mind, and a creepy rock with a palm imprint. Sam feels very real, while his daughter thinks it's a hallucination he's having. The police send out a drone to go down and find out what's going on. Suddenly, the drone instantly loses its connection and disappears. And Sam's mind flashes back to the drone landing and clearly sees the tail number. He then finds the police and tells them not to give up on the rescue, saying that all the people are still alive. The police don't believe it at all, and Sam is surprised when he tells them the number of the drone straight away. But the police told Sam that no one could survive the deep pit of the crash and told him to be sorry for his loss. George needs medical drugs to deal with his injuries as they are more serious. Blake says he's seen an ambulance, so several people go forward together to find it. During the night, a woman fires a flare gun into the sky to try and get rescued, and this just happens to be seen by a distant old man who also has a palm print on the back of his shirt. After a long day of traveling, several people finally find the ambulance. Unintentionally, Lena realizes that the pattern on the car is surprisingly identical to the mountain in the distance. Wasn't this the same mountain in the city? Could it be that they were still in the city? Just as several people were confused, a weird sound came from the woods aside, and a saber-toothed tiger from the ancient times walked out. Just as they were about to return, they encountered a saber-toothed tiger from ancient times. The saber-toothed tiger follows them as they run away. At the critical moment, Blake pulled out a pistol, but the last shot hit the vitals, but another one came running. Panic, a few people hiding in the cliff. They feel the saber-toothed tiger has left. They just walked up, only to find the saber-toothed tiger sitting there waiting for them. The two saw this and turned around and ran, but I didn't expect the saber-toothed tiger to take a shortcut to block the front of the two, and got up to pounce on the two, but fell into a trap. The two couldn't think twice and rushed to look for the doctor. Finally, they found the doctor the next day, but he had a bit of a bad fall and was no longer able to stand and walk. But now Lena's son still needed medicine to save his life. The doctor's help was very helpful. After the three of them discussed, Blake stayed behind to take care of the doctor. Lena took the medicine and went back to save her son first. When she rushed back, Xiaoshi was already unconscious. Lena rushed to inject her son with antibiotics. Not long after, the doctor and Blake also rushed back here. The female traffic police organization rationed the food to everyone. Just then, a huge animal appears behind the group. Everyone panicked and hid in fear, but it had no intention of harming the humans and left after eating the food on the ground in 2 bites. The bearded man recognized it as an animal that had gone extinct 10,000 years ago. He thought everyone had traveled to 10,000 years ago through the sinkhole. The crowd is half convinced, but the most important thing now is to solve the food problem. The group starts to hunt in separate groups. Soon, Lena and Blake caught a rabbit. At that moment, a brown bear suddenly appeared behind them. They run away, but the bear is right behind them. In the nick of time, the two of them hide in a cave, which is the only way to escape. However, the entrance to the cave was destroyed by the bear, and the two could only find another exit. Not long afterward, they ran into 2 other teammates. They found a man in modern clothes in the cave. From the markings on the wall, it is clear that this person has been trapped here for several years. So how did this person get here? After hours of searching, they managed to get out of the cave. On the other side, the ground troops were ready to send airplanes into the deep pit, hoping that they would succeed in finding survivors. As the aircraft dove deeper, the signal from the command center was also interfered with. The aircraft suddenly lost control, and the engine caught fire. Then, the ground lost contact with the aircraft. When the survivors who fell through the sinkhole were discussing how to find an exit, the crack in the sky suddenly flashed, and then an aircraft fell, attracting everyone's attention. Looking in the direction of the smoke, they decided to send several people to search and rescue, but only found a parachute hanging on a tree. At this time, the cries of wild beasts and 2 gunshots came from not far away. Then, a pilot came out from the side. This person was Levi, a friend of Joe's father. They decided to look for the crashed aircraft together. If the aircraft could take off, it could take them home. On the ground, Sam suddenly had a vision in his mind of Levi being with his wife under the sinkhole. So, he went to find Dr. Nathan, but the office was empty. On the desk, Sam saw his own file, and out of curiosity, he opened it and looked through it. It contained information about all the sinkholes, including a detailed record of the Mojave sinkhole, and there was also a photo. Subsequently, Sam found the woman in the photo, and at the moment, she was with the doctor. They also wanted to save the people below. The two took Sam to a warehouse, where there was an aircraft. They made some reinforcements and refits to prevent another crash. It turned out that these 2 women were both members of the Mojave sinkhole team 3 years ago. The aircraft that flew into the Mojave sinkhole was designed by them, but before the aircraft could return, the sinkhole closed. Now that the aircraft was ready, they invited Sam to be the pilot and enter the sinkhole. Levi found that the aircraft was not far away through the detector. Just as several people were crossing the river, something seemed to swim over from under the water. Levi took out his gun and stabbed it directly into the water. With 2 gunshots, the girl was successfully rescued. Soon they found the crashed aircraft. Levi quickly started the aircraft, and the fault indication showed that the compressor of the aircraft engine was damaged. Hope was dashed again. Just as they were about to leave, they found that the radar on the aircraft showed that there were other people 5 kilometers away. They decided to go and see who they were. Following the direction of the radar, they came to the destination. Based on radar signals, to locate the signal source, the group split up to search. Not far away, a bunker marked with a palm print caught Lena's attention. Inside, she discovered a corpse dressed in modern clothes. Levi took out a photo and began to compare it. It turned out that his mission this time was not only to rescue those who fell into the sinkhole but also to find the 7 people in the photo. 3 years ago, a sinkhole also appeared in the Mojave Desert, and the military sent an exploration team to fly down. After the sinkhole closed, they were trapped inside. This man was one of the team members, and the signal received by the radar came from his walkie-talkie. Lena and Levi also found a campfire that had just gone out. Lena guessed there must be other people around, but as they stepped onto the bridge, they discovered a tunnel. It led to a secret passage out of the village. As soon as they emerged, the door closed automatically. Lena saw her son outside from the watchtower. Suddenly, a group of primitives appeared. Josh took the girl and ran into the woods. Lena and Levi tried to escape but were blocked at the gate by the primitives, who picked up their bows and arrows and shot wildly. In a panic, the two hid in a house, only to find several children inside. They wanted to go back, but it was already too late.
The intruders. Have you seen them?
We haven't seen them.
Outside, Josh, wanting to save his mother, came up with a plan. 2 guards were distracted by a mobile phone, allowing Josh and the girl to sneak into the village. The children led Lena to a hidden exit, and just then, Josh and the others arrived. They then opened a secret passage. As they were escaping, a mysterious old man suddenly appeared, ready to shoot an arrow at them. At the critical moment, a woman showed up, saved them, and let them go. After going through all kinds of hardships, they finally returned to the camp on the ground. After discussing, Dashin and the others decided to secretly fly into the deep pit at night. Dr. Nathan was responsible for dealing with the radar at the Air Force Base to ensure a smooth descent. When Dr. Nathan rushed back to the base, he was stopped by the person in charge of the sinkhole. Bailey took Dashin to a construction site near the sinkhole. This was where the survivors of the sinkhole from 10,000 years ago lived. Among the unearthed cultural relics, they found a bottle containing a letter written by Lena 10,000 years ago. The light connecting the two worlds was also starting to close, which meant they only had one day left to rescue the people in the sinkhole.